Russia's parliament has advanced a bill to legalize cryptocurrency investing, but the central bank would decide who gets through the door and what coins even qualify. The pressure point is simple. Russia's first reading crypto bill would legalize investing but keep domestic payments off limits. Russian parliament adopts is the search phrase, but the useful issue is who gains, who loses, and which rule or right changes in practice. That is why the practical rule change matters more than the political slogan around it. The State Duma approved the bill on digital currency and digital rights in its first reading, with 327 deputies voting in favor of a framework that would legalize crypto circulation under strict supervision. The detail that matters most is who gets access under the rule change and who keeps the power to say no. This puts a real procedural marker on the story instead of leaving it at rhetoric. The plan puts the Central Bank of Russia in charge of licensing exchanges, brokers, banks, and other intermediaries, while also giving it the power to whitelist coins and restrict transactions. In plain English, regulation shapes access, product range, and legal confidence long before it shows up in a token chart. Once the formal structure appears, the winners and losers become easier to identify. For people typing Russian parliament adopts, the practical issue is enforcement, access, or voting power, not the headline alone. Crypto would be treated as property rather than legal tender, so domestic payment for goods and services would stay banned even as cross-border use cases under sanctions relief logic could be permitted. That is the step that turns a debate into operational consequences. The mechanism is controlled legalization. Russia is not opening a free market. It is building a supervised corridor in which only approved intermediaries and a narrow asset list can serve investors. For people searching KW, the useful question is not whether policy sounds positive or negative. It is who can operate, what they can offer, and under what constraints. The legal mechanism matters because markets adapt to rules long before they adapt to narratives. That matters because it could drag part of the market out of the shadows, while still leaving many users and firms feeling the system is too restrictive to compete with offshore or gray market alternatives. A small drafting change can shift an entire market if it widens or narrows the legal path for exchanges, issuers, brokers, or investors. This is where affected users, platforms, or investors start calculating real compliance or access costs. What remains unclear is how much the bill will change before later readings, how low the non-qualified investor limits will be set, and whether the restricted coin list leaves enough breadth to attract real migration into the legal channel. Watch amendments before the next reading, watch the final investor testing rules, and watch whether Russian firms decide the regulated path is workable or simply too narrow to replace the informal market. The open question is not cosmetic. It decides how much room the market actually has. That leaves Russian parliament adopts hanging on the next formal step, because speeches and posts matter less than enforceable rules or court filings. This stays a rules story until the next legal step lands, because access, compliance, and market structure change long before price action catches up. The next official move matters more than another round of commentary.